Welcome back. Any petitions? Reports of standing and select committees? Other reports and papers? Notices of questions? Yes, Honorable Wahab.
Honorable Speaker, sir, I hereby give a notice that on Thursday, 17th of September 2020, I shall ask the Minister of Health and Social Services, Honorable Dr. Kalumbi Sangula, the following questions. There is a desperate need to establish very important health services and facilities of dialysis in the following two regions, Karas and Erongo, especially at Ketmanso and Omaruru hospitals. Karas region need urgently at least 2 dialysis machines and Omaruru 1. May the Honorable Minister appraise his August House about the possibility of how these important services of dialysis will be rendered at the doorstep of the communities of Karas and Omaruru after 30 years of our hard-earned independence. May the Minister also share with the members of this August House and the public out there the roadmap to decentralize most services by providing medical equipment to the health centers and hospitals in the regions to ease the referral to Windhoek State Hospital. And on the same day, Honorable Speaker, I shall ask the Minister of Industrialization and Trade, Honorable Lucia Ipumbu, the following questions. The Namibian government has ensured that planning as a management tool be seen as correct measures of decision-making, of which Vision 2030 is the heart of strategy. May the Honorable Minister inform this August House how the industrialization roadmap and the strategy aligns with the Regional Indicative Development Plan 2015 and 2020 in order to ensure that industrialization is accorded center stage in the remaining period. Can the Honorable Minister share with the Honorable members of this August House and the nation at large how far we are as the nation, the country, and as the government to attain Vision 2030 and the industrialization? And lastly, Honorable Speaker, I shall ask the Minister of Agriculture and Land Reform, Honorable Kale Slytvine, the following questions. Resettlement and productivity should go hand in hand with agriculture. Agricultural productivity should be a primary consideration when resettling people. Land should therefore not be confined to redistribution, but take into account the need to increase agricultural productivity. May the Honorable Minister appraise the members of this August House how the Ministry has mapped out 2 biggest issues: undermining productivity on the resettlement farm and lack of monitoring. What preventative measures has the Ministry put in place that lack of farming knowledge and skills not tempting resettlement farmers to sublease the farms to well-off and well-connected farmers? If possible, is there any legal agreement or policy that guides the subleasing process and the time period allowed to such agreement? Can the Honorable Minister share with the members of the August House and pinpointing which farms were productive, which were struggling, and what support should be provided and how in this new normal? I so move, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Next, I'm quite certain it's not Honorable Jan van Beek, but Honorable Shuntu, please. Honorable, you have the floor.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, honorable members. I hereby give notice that on Thursday, 17 September 2020, I shall ask the Minister of Home Affairs, Immigration, Safety and Security, Honorable Franz Kapofi, the following. Suspects at the Opuwo police station holding cells have complained that during this difficult time of COVID-19, it has been very hard for them to observe the state of emergency regulations, such as social distancing, due to the overcrowdedness of the cells at the above-mentioned facility. The cells were built to have a capacity of only 50 suspects, but hold more than 100 suspects to date. I thus ask, why have the Opuwo police station holding cells not seen expansions since independence? 2, why is government not building cells in Sesfontein, Etanga, and the Tanga districts to help ease the pressure on the Opuwo police station holding cells? 3, why has your ministry not built cells for trial awaiting suspects in all 14 regions of Namibia? 4, when is the long overdue periodic court strategy going to be implemented in Sesfontein, Okangwati, and Tanga districts, respectively? I so submit.
Thank you. Let's move on, Honorable Seipep.
Yes, it's an oral question to the Field Marshal, retired, to the Minister of Defense,
Can I have the gist
Pinehas.
of your question?
Yeah?
The gist
No, it's about the alleged Chinese military presence in Namibia.
That is the question.
Yes,
Yes.
a short one. Now, the Minister of Defense, Pinehas, we are informed that there are in excess of approximately 3,500 Chinese military personnel and imported artillery in Swakop, Walvis, and Hendy's Bay last month. Now, the question whether the Minister will confirm or deny is that, how long are the Chinese military personnel going to be based in Namibia? When are they leaving? Are they here to do military training for Namibia Defense Force? Secondly, is this part of what was alleged to be a precursor to one of the largest military bases of China outside Namibia? Are they here to do groundwork 3, there are allegations that there is a joint military cooperation, joint defense force agreement between Namibia and China. Has it ever been brought to the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Defense and Security? Those are the short ones.
Thank you. Let me ask the Honourable Minister to respond. Honourable Minister, would you care to respond to those questions? Thank you.
First of all, I would wish to request my honorable counterpart that we are in the second session now, and I would prefer that you please familiarize yourself with my title. You cannot be calling me Field Marshal, the other day you called me something else. So please, yes. Okay. Secondly, anything that needs to be brought to Parliament in relation to defense, anything that should have been brought to Parliament in relation to defense will have been brought here already. So that which was never brought here, it means that there's nothing that requires to be brought here. And secondly, yesterday,
please, order.
Yesterday I was standing straight and you could not hear me. The reason why I'm bending is because of the mic. Okay?
Thank you.
Yes. So secondly, all the other to the second question.
Please, let's allow the honourable member to finish. Please. Yeah. Okay. Honourable Minister, please continue. Please.
Exactly. So finally, the rest of the information, the questions that you ask is confidential.
Thank you. Let's leave it at that. Honourable Nico Smith. Please.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Order, please. Let's finish. Honourable member, please, let's continue. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, please. Yeah. Honourable Nico Smith, you have the floor, please.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I have...
Okay, please, order. Let's order, please. Continue, please. No, please. No, please. Let's move on. Please. The Honourable Nico Smith is on the floor. Please continue.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, I give notice that on Thursday, the 17th of September, 2020,
Please, let's calm down. Honourable member, please. Please. Calm down, please. Okay. Let's order. Let's stop it now. Let's continue. Honourable member, please continue. Continue, please.
yeah.
Continue, please. Continue, please.
Thank you.
Okay, order, please. Continue, Honourable Nico Smith.
Yeah,
Continue,
thank you.
please. Yes. Honourable point of order, Honorable Harukwa. Please order, please. Order.
Yesterday you said discipline. That guy is not showing discipline here.
I've given
Tell that guy.
Honorable Harukwa on a point of order.
Okay, Savior, please give me time. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, when we have come, I'll talk.
Okay.
Yes, thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Minister of Defense is dealing with a very sensitive ministry that has to safeguard our security from external factors and internal factors. Now, it is established culture and practice in this parliament that no question can be posted to that ministry without being met with a similar answer. Now, no person in this country supersedes the state, not even the president that appointed that very minister. Now, what I want to propose is the following, Honorable Speaker, that standing rules interrogate the accountability of the Ministry of Defense, its companies, to this August House. And that such perhaps standing rules committee also involve the Committee on Foreign Affairs to interrogate that question, because the Ministry of Defense is a good thing for us, but it can also be a dangerous thing for us. Okay. So if we continue having a Ministry of Defense that is unaccountable to anyone but the President, we will have a problem in the country. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much.
Speaker, is the proposal taken?
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I want to leave it at that because we must continue logically. Honorable Nico Smith, I've taken note of your comment. Honorable Nico Smith, please.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, I give notice that on Thursday, 17 September 2020, I shall ask the Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Please, let's hear the Honourable Member, please.
I shall ask the Right Honourable Prime Minister, Sarah Kugungelwa Amakila, the following. Some weeks ago, the Honourable Minister of Defence made a speech to Namibian soldiers in which he accused various sections of the Namibian population of, amongst other sins, refusing to cooperate with economic transformation and also trying to bring about regime change by means other than through the ballot box. This has caused considerable outrage throughout civil society and has led to counter-accusations of hate speech against certain groups. The Honourable Minister also seems to believe that he is entitled to operate without the oversight of this Parliament, judging by statements made by him in this August House regarding the auditing of his ministry, as well as the company known as August 26, that dubious one. I thus ask, 1, whether the Right Honourable Prime Minister will inform this August House and the Namibian people whether the Honourable Minister of Defence speech is a reflection of this government's policy. If not, why has the government not moved to discipline the Honourable Minister and repudiate these statements? 2, can the Right Honourable Prime Minister inform this August House which clause in the Namibian Constitution exempts the Honourable Minister of Defence from allowing the auditing of his ministry's accounts? I so submit. On the same day, I will ask.
Please continue.
I will give notice on Thursday, the 17th of September. I shall ask the Minister of Public Enterprise, Honourable Leon Jooste, the following. On 27 February 2020, I asked the then Minister of Finance a number of questions regarding the financial situation of Air Namibia. I received very comprehensive answers from him at that time. In the meantime, very little has changed, except that Air Namibia's wings have been clipped by the measures put in place by government to contain the COVID-19 pandemic. Now I ask, 1, on the 27th of February 2020, the Minister of Finance informed this House in reply to a question by me that Air Namibia is insolvent. Has your ministry taken any steps to recapitalize the airline? If not, when will steps taken to liquidate it? 2, do you not agree that by allowing Air Namibia to continue trading while knowing that it is bankrupt, the government is not only breaking the law as contained in the Companies Act, but also seriously prejudicing creditors and the public? 3, can ordinary as opposed to non-SOEs and state creditors of Air Namibia expect to be compensated by government in the event of the liquidation of Air Namibia, since your ministry is allowing a bankrupt business to continue operating? 4, how much money does Air Namibia currently owe the Namibian Airports Company? 5, how much money does Air Namibia owe the NCCA for navigation services? 6, how much money has Air Namibia paid to the Namibia Airports Company since January 2020? 7, why has the Namibian Airports Company not taken legal action against Air Namibia to recover outstanding debt? 8, are Namibia Airports Company and NCCA under political pressure to not recover outstanding debt from Air Namibia? If not, why have you not instructed them to do so? 9, do you agree that it is a clear contravention of SOE good governance rules for Air Namibia to be allowed to not pay associated SOEs for services rendered to it? 10, do you agree that it is a contravention of the Airports Company Act, Section 4.1 and 5.1a, and the Chicago Convention, Article 15 of the Convention, for Namibia Airports Company to allow Air Namibia to not pay its accounts full on a monthly basis? They are obliged to do it, thereby prejudicing other users of its airport who have to do so. I so submit, Honourable Speaker.
Thank you. Next is the Honourable Martin. You have the floor.
Honourable Tinja, but my name is...
Always a challenge.
It's coming, it's coming.
Now me on the floor. They put me on factory.
Yeah.
I think we need the pastor to be interceding for this. Thank you. Honorable Speaker, I have an oral question to the famous Minister of Health.
Can you give me the gist of it?
Yes. Is the Minister aware of the myth and misconception or unconfirmed information that most of the Namibian COVID-19 related deaths are only occurring in our state hospital? Can the Minister perhaps share with this House the statistic of such deaths, of perhaps how many have occurred in our state hospital, private hospital, or even at home? Because there is misconception that is in the public there, and the public is curious to know. Secondly, I'm also curious to know, we have heard of Romanian couples having COVID in Namibia, Zambian nationals, South African nationals. But perhaps since COVID was reported in Namibia, do we have any of maybe Chinese nationals who have been contracted COVID-19, either while they are here or imported cases? If not, did we perhaps find out how they are protecting themselves? Because earlier this year, I believe it was in Walvis Bay, there was one of the Chinese citizens who was caught by authority sharing COVID-related. So we want those information so that the nation can at least be informed. Because there are misconceptions. They're saying there is none Chinese nationals who contracted COVID-19 yet. So maybe can the minister just inform us on that? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Minister, can you respond to that specific question?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Please, may I appeal to
Can you hear me?
our honorable members, please keep the level down, please, so that we can hear each other. Yes, honorable member.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Thank you very much, Honorable Member, for your questions, oral questions. On your first question, I can confirm that we had deaths in both public hospitals, in Erongo, in Comas, in Oshkoto, in Oshana, in Karas, both in state hospitals and also in private hospitals. And we also have deaths which occurred at home. On your second question, we do not, since long time, identify individuals who have contracted COVID-19. We rather refer them to their numbers because we have incidences when individuals who have contracted COVID-19 have been a subject of harassment, especially from the media. And therefore, we have ceased, in the interest of the patients, to identify their identity. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Honorable Jennifer van der Heever.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Mine is just a follow-up of the question I asked yesterday, which was deferred since the Minister was not present. Now, I'm not sure whether the Minister is here or there is somebody who can respond to the question.
Yes.
Due to the time limit we are having on registration. I also just want to add that I saw there is a strategy from the ECN on mitigating the COVID-19 impact on upcoming elections, but and it is actually welcomed. But we are having a new challenge of the seamen as well, who are not allowed to come and register due to the fact that they can't leave the vessels. So perhaps we can be enlightened on that as well.
The question is directed to the Minister of Urban and Rural. Minister, urban and rural development, isn't it? Yes. I wonder whether you actually managed to catch the question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I think the question is misdirected. I don't deal with registration of elections. Not with me. Yes, I'm responsible for Ministry of Urban Rural Development, but not with registration. Frankly speaking, there's no way I can provide
I'm trying
some.
to understand the response from the minister. Did you get the response? Honorable Jennifer Van Hever, did you manage to get the response?
Yes, I could hear what he said. He said he's not responsible to respond to it. But normally it's the speaker who is tabling electoral commission.
Yeah.
But the election, ECN is falling under the Ministry of Urban and Rural Development, so I don't know. Otherwise, the Prime Minister must respond to him, somebody.
I think we should not go further. I think these are issues that should be dealt with directly with ECN. I think it is much better because then we can get direct responses. Unless, because. Yes, on the point of order, yes? Yes, please. Just wait for the mic.
The ECN is established by an act of parliament. Somewhere in that act, there's a definition of when it says the minister, it's referring to ex-minister. In my weak recollection, it's the Minister of Urban and Rural Development.
Yes.
Now there's this other fact. Again, an independent institution, but still accountable to Parliament.
Yes, yes.
So when members of Parliament are to ask questions, if indeed there's a misunderstanding in that the particular minister that is asked today is the responsible minister, then surely the leader of government business in the House would then be charged with giving us answer in that regard. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Okay, thank you very much. And I think let us, I'm hearing you quite clearly, but I think when it comes to some of these operational issues, I think it's far better to deal directly with ECN so that we are clear in terms of what is happening. But for now, if the minister is not in the position to respond to that, honestly, my best advice, No, this is what I'm hearing. So let's leave it there. And right, Honourable Prime Minister, do you want to pick up on that?
Yes. Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I don't know whether I'm audible. Yes, thank you, Honourable Speaker. I just wanted to say that there is no disagreement that the query that is being raised by the Honourable Member is an important one, nor is there any disagreement that ECN or any other autonomous institution established by the state is accountable to Parliament. I think the question is how that accountability is to be achieved. I think we have agreed that these institutions should not, should not be provided with logistical support from executive institutions. Previously, although these institutions are autonomous, they used to resort for logistical purposes only under executive institutions. And the reason for that was to be able to channel this kind of queries. But that raised concerns. And in an effort to address those concerns, to eliminate any concerns that there would be any interference with the independence of these institutions by the executive, it was agreed in this Parliament that such arrangements be ceased with, and that happened. So I want to agree with the proposal of the Speaker that arrangements be made in order that these queries are are put to the ECN. I don't think there would be anything wrong for the Office of the Speaker to facilitate some kind of interaction with the political parties. If there are concerns from Parliament as an institution, those concerns can be channeled through Speaker to ECN, and ECN can provide a briefing, maybe through some kind of workshop or meeting or whatever. We ask our questions and we get clarification. Otherwise, if there are specific proposals that have to be made by parties that are interested in election matters, there are established procedures for raising those. So we are not disagreeing. We are just saying we should do things the way that we have agreed we should do them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's leave it at that. Can we leave it at that? No, the issue is that we are not actually doing justice to the question, and then this is the best way to deal with it. Yes. Yes, yes. Let me. No, wait a minute. Wait for the mic.
Yes, Honourable Speaker, I happen to think that these are point of orders relating to this very question
Yes.
and the procedure within the House.
Mm.
I totally agree with the Right Honourable Prime Minister in that government wants to distance itself for once away from the ECN. Now, the problem is this. After the EVMs. After the EVMs.
Yes, please.
The problem is this. The problem is Parliament has powers. And those powers include this question. Those powers include demanding answers from the ECN. So to say that in the future this must happen, but now there's no provision for that, it's not good enough. No, I'm not suggesting that that's what she's saying, but by implication, because I know very well that this question will lie in suspense and never be dealt with. So that if what the Right Honourable Prime Minister said is indeed what we are going to follow, that when members of Parliament intend to ask the ECN questions, it must be channeled through the Speaker's office, then a question like this, when we have established that, the Speaker should confirm that that question has my attention and I will revert to the House on it. And then we must improve on that to say that our rules must then accommodate such. Because we will have a situation then if we don't do that, like we have with the Minister of Defense, Ministry of Defense. I'm not saying Minister as him there, because his predecessor had the same thing. Because now Parliament has no right whatsoever, no say in the Auditor General because he's autonomous, no say in the ECN because he's autonomous. So that is the problem.
To the point. Thank you, Honourable Maruka. The point is this. The point is this. The point is this. This is an urgent question that requires immediate solution. And we are undertaking to communicate that important question to ACN in the absence of anyone taking the responsibility. So I'm prepared to do that, and I can assure you. Honourable Kawandenge.
Waiting. Yes, Honourable Speaker, I just have two urgent questions, oral questions, one to the Minister of Health and one to the Minister of Youth and Sports. Honourable Minister of Health, there are, and this is really very urgent, there are information outside there, whether correct or not, that says the only cremation machine to cremate, what is it? Yeah, that word again. Especially those that have died of COVID, is broken. And there are quite a number or some bodies of those suspected to have died of COVID that are waiting to be cremated. Is that whatever, that word. Yeah, is that true or not? The short question to the Minister of Youth and Sport is that, Honourable Minister, since you took over your position, one is left wondering, when will you be obstinate and unyielding to move this soccer mess forward? When will the Minister of Youth and Sport take this House in confidence and enlighten us as to what is happening currently with our football administration in this country? Because so many young people's lives depend on playing soccer. And we are seeing what is happening currently on that front. What is the minister's view going forward in addressing this issue so that the Namibian young people can go back to the pitch and start playing soccer while at the same time earning their salaries? Thank you.
I think the Honorable Kawandenge, one thing you left out is that the National Assembly soccer team is waiting.
Oh yes, oh yes.
The goalkeeper is going to be Honorable Shawameni. Minister, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Thank you very much, Honorable Kawandenge, for your questions. I would just want to inform the House and yourself that the government, and specifically the Ministry of Health and Social Services, does not have cremation facilities. The cremation facility which is available in Windhoek belongs to the city of Windhoek. It is the city of Windhoek which has the facility. It's the city of Windhoek which does the cremation. So the Ministry of Health and Social Services would not know whether the machine is...
They went, they were told the machine is broken. Their loved ones cannot be cremated. What is that? What is wrong with me and that word?
Cremate.
Yeah, that one. So maybe you can follow it up. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Agnes Shongarero.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Thank you very much, Honorable Kawandenge. Yes, unfortunately you said since I took over. No, I found it. It was already there, but we are in the process of preparing a ministerial statement, and then I'll come and inform this House what is happening. We are still in the process of negotiating with the two parties, but I'll come and inform the House properly. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's leave it at that. Honorable Anani.
Honorable Speaker, I have an oral urgent question to the Right Honorable Leader of the Government Business, and I want to see whether what she said now would be a consistent sense in the next question.
Can I have the gist of it?
The gist of it is that the Right Honorable Prime Minister, empowered by the statutes of this country, transfers the officials or officers that serves as executive directors to various government agencies and ministries. It's a given, and we agree with that. But we are seeing an interference and capturing of the Anti-Corruption Commission. If the Prime Minister is talking about the autonomy, government wants to protect autonomous institutions, how does that speak to the fact that she would take an executive director from the office of the Central Intelligence, someone who deals with the questions of Honorable Rear Admiral, my dear friend and neighbor, Vilo, who deals with everything secret, to come and run ACC? At a sensitive juncture, what we are hearing that there are already over 303 individuals already linked to the accounts of the fish rot scandal. And yet the Prime Minister does not flag the question of autonomy and transparency and brings in a spy agent to come and run ACC. How does, to us, ACC is already captured. Because if there was transparency, the Prime Minister should have said ACC, in terms of protecting the ethos and the values of that institution, please go out and look for a competent person to become the executive director. But that you are pushing the executive directors of ACC as government at will, while ACC is investigating government, to us that is a compromise. And I want to hear your view on the matter, because you spoke so eloquently about the ECN autonomy. What about the ACC autonomy?
Thank you, Honorable Benani, Prime Minister.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I have responded to that issue, the Office of the Prime Minister, and I would say in short what the response is. Executive directors do not run these watchdog institutions. The ACC is not run by the executive director at the ACC. It is run by the Director General of the ACC, assisted by the Deputy Director General, and the staff that are empowered through delegation of the powers for investigation and other work that are carried out by the ACC by wrong information. I want to say that.
Thank you very much.
And there was therefore no interference in the work of the Commission. This was a power of the Prime Minister that is given under the law to transfer persons. There is absolutely nothing wrong that we know of with the person that is deployed as ED at the ACC. And if there is anything that renders that person unsuitable to serve in that position in terms of the Public Service Act, then that information should be made known to the Prime Minister. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
You were talking about autonomy of the ECN. What is the autonomy of ACC? At the ECN, the director who runs ECN is appointed through an open vetting process to avoid conflict of interest. Now, ACC that is running a corruption scandal of over 10 billion, the people that are accused are ministers that are in prison. And now you are bringing the state to be able to direct the affairs. And if you are saying the ED does not direct the affairs, of course the ED is the person that presents the budget of ACC to the ministry. Of course, every year when there is a budget committee, ED are the ones that are heading that. Yes.
Honorable Benani.
If the ED says don't give money to the AC to the Fish Rot case, then he is compromised. If you want to speak of the autonomy of ACC, government has captured ACC.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's leave it there.
Yes.
Honorable PM, please, I don't want you to continue the form of the dialogue. Briefly, please. Yeah.
I must respond. I must respond because
Yes,
I need to provide clarity. The appointment of the director of the ECN is provided for in the Act. So if it was the wish of this House that the director of the ECN would have functions and would be appointed in a certain manner, then we should have provided for that under the law. But we have provided for what we have provided, and that stands for as long as that law is unamended. Okay. And I'm sure we all know that. And I reiterate once again that the EDs do not deal with the functions that are vested in the principals that head public institutions, and it is not correct that the ED of the ACC is the one that presents the budget. Present it where? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, as I have served at the Ministry of Finance, and I know that principals heading institutions of the state do directly speak to the resources needs, and I consider such when I make a proposal for a budget. So it is incorrect to say whatever funding goes to the ACC is actually determined by the ED. Absolutely not. The ED only is the accounting officer, and that's all.
Thank you. Let's leave it at that. Let's leave it at that. Honestly, no. I think we leave it at that. No. Honestly, we had a oral question. No. Benani, no. Let's leave it at that. Let's leave it at that. With your respect, let's leave it at that. No. We move on. Notices or motions. Honorable Benani.
You can't have two
No, please. We
have
moved on.
You can't have two arguments on autonomy.
No.
On one case you are saying the other one. You must be consistent.
Let's move on.
Yes. Honorable Speaker.
Yes.
On Tuesday next week I shall move a motion in this August Assembly to debate the precarious situation unfolding in our sisterly republic, Zimbabwe. There has of late been renewed arbitrary crackdown on opposition activists, members of civil society and journalists by the government of Zimbabwe. Listen, you are new to politics. Dozens, if not hundreds of lives have been lost through this state-sponsored violence. Among those killed include prominent opposition members, Mazwin Ndlovu and Lavender Chiwaya. We cannot sit back and watch this travesty of justice against the people of Zimbabwe. The time has come for the Namibian government to set aside any liberation movement camaraderie it has with ZANU-PF and condemn the state-sponsored violence with the full comprehension it deserves. Even the ANC of South Africa has condemned the state-sponsored violence in Zimbabwe. Let me remind this August House that if Zimbabwe explodes, the economy and humanitarian crisis will be felt throughout the whole of the SADC region. Hence, we have a collective responsibility to address and find a long-lasting solution to the situation in Zimbabwe. Honorable Speaker, I so move.
Thank you. Next, Honorable Nico Smith.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I give hereby notice.
Please, let's listen to each other.
I give notice that on Wednesday, the 16th of September, I shall move that this House debates the issue of the responsibility of accounting officers in all government entities, agencies and regional and local authorities. Since there are so many of these organizations whose audits are qualified by the Auditor General every year. Nothing is done about this. There is zero responsibility on the part of the accounting officers, clearly, or the executive director. And the same pattern is repeated every year without recourse or remedy. I so move.
Thank you.
Very good.
Messages from the head of state, ministerial statements. Well, we have successfully gone through the entire item before us, and we have duly come to the end of this session. May I request Right Honorable Prime Minister to adjourn the House until next week, Tuesday.
Yes. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I move that the House adjourns until next week, Tuesday.
Thank you very much. The House stands adjourned until next week, the usual time, Tuesday, 2:30.